Everyone else is here waiting. All right, I'd like to call to order the Conservation, Sustainability, and Green Initiatives Committee meeting for March 23rd. Council, can you take roll?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Reinhardt?
Yep.
Efficoro?
Here.
Camiso? Fine?
Here.
Lockhart?
Here.
Miller?
Present.
Plotsky? Simpson? Oh, I see Vicky is here. And Tunney.
Here.
7 present, Mr. Chairman.
All righty, thank you. What was that? Someone say something? All right, the first order of business is approving the previous meeting minutes. Do I have any questions or is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Matt, is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, sounds unanimous. All right, we have one order of business today, and that is authorizing the planning department to take initial review actions to determine the seeker lead agency status regarding the solar installation project, also known as the radar tower site. Laura, did you have something? Did you want to add something? Is that Laura DiCatano?
Mr. Chairman, this is Luke Rogers. This request came from our office. Laura, obviously, being our resident seeker expert, is involved, and I invited her to attend, but I can present on this one.
Okay.
I thought maybe for the benefit of new members, I would take, or newer members, I would take a minute just to give a little background on the seeker type 1 process and what that means for Albany County. So the radar tower site, because it is proximate to the Shaker Historic District, qualifies for a type 1 review. And that means a coordinated review. What that means for Albany County is a 3-step process. The first step is authorization to send a letter to involved parties indicating that the county would like to be lead agency. They have 30 days to respond. And then we, practically speaking, that is probably unlikely or, does not frequently occur. Assuming that there are no other interested parties seeking lead agency, we would then come back for a second approval to actually be declared lead agency. And then when the review is complete and a determination is made, we come back to the legislature a final time for approval of that determination. So where we are in that 3-step process, this is step 1, simply seeking to send the letter to interested or involved agencies indicating our interest in being lead agency on this project. Part 1 of the EAF, when completed, will be attached to that, and we'll give interested parties the necessary background to understand the project. So hopefully that's helpful to put it into context a little bit what this request is, and happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Well, Luke, I do have one question. Is this a site where we've already got a concept in mind or any kind of a layout of the site for what the solar farm would look like, or does that all still have to happen in the future?
It's kind of in between. We have sketches, but the final engineering is still being finalized. So we do have a sketch. I know, I think it's been provided in previous requests related to this project, but happy to send it around again. But it's, intended to utilize maximize the use of the open space on the property.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is this land former agricultural land?
I'm not sure. I don't know if Laura knows, but that would certainly be indicated as part of the seeker process.
Right. One thought that occurred to me is I know a lot of people in this meeting probably aren't aware of this, but I have been looking at, because of my interest in solar, I have been sort of tracking dual use opportunities where you combine solar farms with agriculture. It's happening all over the country in various ways. In some ways it's already happening. In some ways it's being looked at as research. But I was kind of wondering if this was an opportunity for us to showcase anything like that, such as perhaps a grazing operation combined with the solar, or a pollination operation combined, beneficial pollinators, that kind of thing. There are various things that are potentially possible, and but it would depend on probably what the site had been prior.
It would depend on that. You're absolutely right that this is something you're seeing more in the industry, since there's such, there's a bit of a natural conflict at times from a land use perspective between agriculture and renewable energy. I think that's a whole nother discussion, but even private projects within the county, I know some are exploring that. And especially with, who our neighbors are in that area, there could be a potential tie-in to explore. Every sort of added element could have the potential to influence costs. So that's something we would want to look at, but happy to raise that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's something we can delve into more later. But does anyone have any other questions at this point? If not,
Pat's hand up, Pat.
oh, I didn't see it. Sorry. Go ahead.
I saw Pat Lockert's hand up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
Okay.
was just
Yeah, I got.
if
Okay, I got a question, Chairman Reinhardt, if I could. Have we thought a lot about how, once these solar panels, their life use is over, what do we do about disposal of solar? Because my understanding, there's a lot of chemicals in the solar. Is that part of the?
I'm not sure I would characterize it quite that way, but it's certainly a fair question. So this is at least a 20-year opportunity. At that 20-year mark, there are 3 opportunities. We could extend for 2 additional 5-year terms because the useful life of the solar is generally longer than the actual, agreement. We could have the developer come in and take them out, which is would be written into the PPA. There's a bond for that included, so that it's handled by the developer and not by, doesn't fall to the county. Or if we were interested, and this one's a little more complicated, but we could purchase the asset if we thought there was still a beneficial use. So whichever, obviously 2041 is a ways away, but those options would all be on the table.
I just think there's a big push to go solar. Solar has some really appealing aspects, but there's certainly a disposal issue with solar that has to be part of the plan, seems to me.
Mark, are you talking about end of life for the panels?
Yeah, just because I saw a guy, he's a builder in California, but he's also on this environmental group. And he says, you have to be careful with some of these solar panels last a lot longer than others. And there's toxic chemicals, that make these things work. I thought that was really interesting as to, what is the lifespan here and what do we do once these things are not useful?
I will just say in general, let's keep in mind that everything that is in a solar panel pretty much is in your desktop computer. And we have all kinds of electronics where we have the same issues. And, I don't want to belittle it, but it's part of our modern world.
Yeah, no, we have to feel, we're going to put our computers. Yeah, all that stuff is, is disposal issues.
Yeah.
I just think there's no perfect energy. That's
No, there isn't. There isn't. There's only the better and the worst, and the worst.
Or a mix and using the best of everything.
But it is somewhat ironic, Mark, that these issues often come up with the clean energy technologies, and they haven't come up in the past when we've been using similar materials for other purposes. But yeah, it's the recycling industry has to progress, and I think it will. One other point I want to make, though, that in terms of what Luke was saying, is that the panels are getting more and more efficient and more output per panel. So it's quite likely that we could have, let's say we installed a 3 megawatt system on the site at the end of this process. What we might find in 20 years is that we wouldn't be putting up, we may not be decommissioning, we may be putting up new panels on the existing hardware, the framing and the supports and all that. And we might end up with a double the capacity or even more. Because just in the years that I've been involved with looking at solar carefully in the last 10 years, the average panel module has gone from an output of around 140 to 160 watts. Now the average is double that. It's like 300 to 360 now is what you see in the marketplace. So the output will actually probably go up at a given site in the future. That's one of the things that technology will be presenting us with as an option. But I will say this, that when Toyota came out with their battery vehicles, the hybrids, and then the now the all electrics, they had already started designing and figuring out how to recycle the electric battery and the entire car. So I do believe that this is a problem that we can solve if we address it with new technology. And hopefully we'll have other co-benefits, like we'll figure out a way to recycle our laptops and computers and our, all of our other electronics as well.
I think technology is across the board is going to improve, and that's going to be to the betterment of mankind. And Bill Gates, I don't know if you saw, he was on 60 Minutes, and he believes he's developed a safe nuclear plant, but they just can't get any politicians to go along with it. But technology is capable. I mean, it's a different way of doing nuclear that's much less dangerous. So there's a lot of interesting things in the future.
Right. Okay. Are there any other questions about this this item?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
a question for Lucas. I apologize, Lucas, if you've already sent this out. I just don't have it for whatever reason. Could you send me, you said you had a sketch of the site plan? Not the engineering one, but could you send that to me?
Yeah, there's a draft sketch.
Yeah.
It's not final.
I
just so
understand.
with that
Yeah.
caveat, but it can be circulated.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
All right. Are any other questions? Is there a motion to vote on this?
Make a motion to approve?
And a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Any other, there's no other agenda item. Does anyone have anything else they want to bring up at the meeting? If not, how about a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
All righty, and a second.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.